have another question about housing inspectors. Do you happen to know how many housing inspectors there are in Baltimore County?
For the Housing Choice Voucher Program, there are 9 inspectors.
9?
9.
And
they
how many?
They work for code enforcement.
Okay.
And when we get backed up, the code enforcement officers are also trained on housing quality standards, and they help fill in.
Okay, now, say an inspector goes to a house, and he knocks on the door, and he really bangs on the door, okay, and he's banging real hard. Nobody comes. And remember, that person's got notice that they're coming that day. I mean, you can hear it. So then he goes back, and 10 minutes later, he's still banging on the door. Then he decides to go sit in his car for a while, 15 minutes. Okay, so that person's really wasting their time, wasting this man's time, because he could be somewhere else going in to inspect the house. Cab comes along 2 minutes later, blowing the horn, nobody comes out. Another 5 minutes, that cab leaves. Finally, a cab. People are in the house the whole time, they wouldn't open up the door. What do you do then?
So again, we send them notice.
Oh, they got the notice.
Right, so they got the notice.
He left his little
comes
card
out,
in the door.
They don't answer the door. It's considered a broken appointment. They're only allowed 2 broken appointments, and then they go to termination.
No. I see it. No.
So again, I can't speak
I'm
to
giving
your
you the house number.
specifically.
In fact, I can give you a couple house numbers if you want.
That's fine, and I'd be happy to look into those. But I'm speaking under the guidelines
Yeah,
of
I
the program,
understand.
and we do have the one-offs and things that happen. But it's once you get a broken appointment, you get a letter that says you have one more opportunity. If they miss the second appointment, they immediately go into termination for their assistance, without question.
And do you check the police calls for service?
Every day.
Do you?
From every precinct.
Oh, then you'll know this house. Make no mistake, you'll know it.
And the homeless apply for these houses?
Anyone can apply.
Okay.
Even if you make $100,000, you can apply.
Now,
We can't stop anyone from applying, and we only determine you eligible when we pull you off the waiting list. So if we pull you off the waiting list and you make $100,000, we send you a really nice letter that says you're not eligible.
How long's the waiting list?
We have approximately 24,000 families, not people, families on the waiting list as of today.
So you'd anticipate that, about how long till the last person on the list might possibly be considered?
As long as there's a housing choice voucher program.
Yeah,
And I say that, and I'm not saying that sarcastically, because we are the only jurisdiction in the state of Maryland.
At the rate of your turnover now, how long would you anticipate somebody new getting placed on the waiting list? Sitting
I
there,
can't.
just 5 years, 10 years?
I can't, because it's a lot, so let me explain the factors that go into pulling someone off the waiting list. So let me start with the waiting list in general. So anyone can apply. We don't deal with the people that apply until we're ready to pull people off the waiting list. That means we are in a position to issue vouchers. Typically, we go through 500 applicants to get 20 qualified candidates. Okay, so that's the process of the waiting list. So like I said, we have people on the list that make $500,000. We have people who make $2. We can't stop you from applying. We can only deal with you as far as eligibility once you come to the top of the list. With that said, the way that we pull individuals off the list means that we have enough money to sustain them. If we issue and they never get off the program, we can continue to sustain you. Right now, we do not have enough money to pull anyone off the waiting list, because I only have enough money to sustain the people that are currently on the program. If HUD gives me more money, then I will pull people off the waiting list that is equal to the amount of money that we're paying out. On average, over the last 3 years, on average, we pay about $817 in assistance per client. So that's on average, because we have some clients we pay $50 of their rent, and we have some clients where we pay all of their rent. So on average of the whole 6,000 something, we have the average rental payment is $817. So we monitor that on a monthly basis, because it changes because people move. So 1 month we might be paying 1 year we might be paying $500 for a family. They move to a different area, different rent, their income changed. We might be paying $700 for that family. So it changes on a daily basis. So I can't give you that.
I just
So-
wanted to make sure she wasn't picking up false food.
No,
Well,
so,
I wanna know,
Right,
I mean,
so-
realistically.
Yeah.
so I will tell you the last time that we issued, we were issuing to families that applied in early 2006. So that's where we stopped.
10 years.
Now, does families take priority over individuals?
We do. So again, so with the comment that I made about our waiting list, is the only waiting list that's open in the state of Maryland. So we get applications from everybody. So we are in conversation with the DSS board that governs the Office of Housing, so that we can close our list as prescribed by HUD and the other jurisdictions have done, so that we can deal with everybody on the list. And once we've cleared the list, reopen it so we can get to those single individuals.
Okay.
Okay, because those single, by the nature of the list, they're always going to fall to the bottom.
Yeah.
I have a question. Those that have disability,
Mhm.
and I know you have units that are, I think Center Place over here
Right.
is for the disabled. So is there a preference list for that group?
The only preference for housing under the Housing Choice Voucher Program currently is that you live or work in Baltimore County, and that's it. So you have to either live or work in Baltimore County, and that's the preference. And then it starts the preference of families. So you gotta live and work, families take priority over singles, and that's how the list reorders. You could be number 1 on the list today, and tomorrow you could be number 555, depending on what's happening with those families and the updates that we receive. So the list looks different every day. So when we decide that we're pulling people off the list, we have to take a snapshot in time and deal with whoever was at the top of the list on the date we pulled it and decided to issue.
I have a question. When you refer to vouchers, is that the same as Section 8?
Yes, so they don't call the program Section 8 anymore, it's called the Housing Choice Voucher Program. Because the whole purpose of the program was to give families choice in where they live. You can take the voucher anywhere. I can issue a voucher out of the Baltimore County Office of Housing, and they can move to Pennsylvania with it. There's nothing I can do about that. So all I can do is tell Pennsylvania, I really don't want you to absorb my voucher, because it lessens my count by 1.
So they can.
But Pennsylvania can say,
for
I
life.
want to take
For
the
life,
take the
okay.
voucher from you.
Alright,
And now
nice.
this person belongs.
That's a different, I never did that.
So you can go anywhere.
That's nice.
This lady had a question, and then I'll come to you.
Yeah, all right.
Well, she more or less asked the same question that I had. But, so my question, I want to go back up a little bit. You said once, on any given day, you're paying $817 average assistance.
Correct.
But then some people only get $50.
Right.
Is that due to their income?
Everything, all the subsidy payments are based on family size and income of the family.
Okay.
A family could be 1 person. So it's the family that, and whoever is eligible, that has eligible income to be counted. So we take that, they can't pay more than 30% of their earned income. There's a whole calculation that we do to determine what their portion of the rent is and what our portion of the rent is.
The reason I'm asking is because I run a pregnancy center, and everything we do there is free. And the majority of the women that come into our pregnancy center are unemployed, uneducated, and a lot of them are homeless. And they have nowhere to live. So, of course, the majority of them are going through social services, and they say, we're waiting for our housing voucher. But they could wait for 10 years for that housing voucher. Is that correct?
Or longer potentially, but, so with that said, the Department of Social Services has housing voucher program for homeless. So there are some other voucher, I'll call them mini voucher programs that are not Section 8, but there are vouchers available through other organizations that do housing. The health department issues assistance for housing. So there are several other housing programs within the county other than the Housing Choice Voucher Program.
Now, are there voucher programs the same as yours, like they would
They are
pay
not the
monthly?
same, they're not the same, and I'm not,
You don't
you know,
know.
savvy enough to speak on
Right.
them, so I don't wanna tell you the wrong thing, but they are housing programs within social services within the health department, and there's a couple other, entities in the county that administer housing. I have this young lady and then you.
Okay, another question I have. You said that, you know, all landlords have to accept Section 8. Am I correct with that?
No,
No.
no, you
Okay.
said that, I
Okay.
said that they don't.
Okay. The law hasn't been changed yet.
The law gets
Okay.
changed.
Now, yeah, and there's a chance it could be real quick.
Depends on the county council.
It could be real quick.
Could be the state first.
Stay first,
Yes.
okay? Now, with that being said, I want to know, why is it legal to put on an ad, Section 8 only? Like you're renting your house out and you can put it in Section 8 only. It's on the Baldwin County website, I have a picture of it.
So let me put
if
on
you want to see it.
my, take off my housing director hat and put on my human relations commission
Yeah,
hat.
okay.
And they can't do that.
They do
so
it.
if-
I got it right off the Baltimore County website.
So if you send me that, I will be happy to have my human relations commission investigator investigate that because that is discrimination.
Well, that's what I thought.
Baltimore County website?
Yeah, here it is. Valerie's not lying about anything.
Say it again?
If they're on drugs or if they smoke,
It's a disability.
you know, if they're on drugs.
So we would have to, it would have to be proven to us that they're, have illegal use of illegal drugs.
They have tests.
We're not authorized to test
I
them.
think one of the things that, as a community, we have to remember is your community association, the
So
people in the community.
This is
have
section
to
eight, it doesn't say
remain
section eight
involved in the
only.
community.
Section 8 only.
If you're seeing some activities that you do not like,
It's on the Baltimore County
and you
website.
So
know
you
who
can,
the landlord is,
Email me.
Then have your
email
community
with that
association
email if you'll-
contact the landlord and say, we're not happy about this. What are you gonna do? We would like you, maybe come to our meeting and explain. If there's a problem with policing, please call the police if there's issues. Because from a nuisance standpoint, even if it's not about your program, nuisance calls, that's how you can get rid of.
Right, so
some
I say this all the time, I say this to all the communities. The most important thing for you to do is, if you want to protect your community, do what you would do with anybody else. It doesn't matter whether you own your house, you're renting, you have a housing choice voucher. Protect your community. If someone is a nuisance, call the police. If someone is violating housing code, call code enforcement and report them. Code enforcement will do what they need to do to get the landlord to do what they need to do. And you call the landlord if you know who the landlord is and say, I need you to enforce your lease because your tenants are wreaking havoc in the community. Where the train falls off the track is when the community focuses on trying to get the voucher taken away from the tenant. That is a whole different process that is only handled internally by the Office of Housing. There is absolutely nothing that you have to do or say to me or say to any of our caseworkers that will get us to talk to you about whether that person is going to lose their voucher or keep it, because we can't discuss our clients with anyone that they don't authorize us to discuss it with. Like I said, we get the police reports, we get the information from the landlords to tell us, we do the inspections. When the information falls in our lap, we don't just let it sit there, we do something with it. We either counsel the family and bring them in and say, stop it. If we see it on the police report and say, you know, you need to do something or you're going to lose your assistance, usually they do something to stop it. If they don't, there's a whole path that they will go down as far as getting their voucher taken away. The only persons that can affect that is the Office of Housing. The community, if you stick to your community avenues, which is the police, code enforcement, and the landlord, you will be more successful than dealing with the participant, because we're going to be dealing with the participant. And Mike, can you just give
Sure.
your experience as a landlord on the program?
Sure, you want me to sit in here, it's fine?
No, I don't care.
What questions would you have? I mean, The biggest thing that I see now that I am a landlord and I do have Section 8, and I see the whole system as a whole, yeah, I could be the same as you. I don't want to pay my taxes to pay other people, but that's just not the way society works. We're here to help one another. And, you know, the federal government does pay it. There's a lot of stereotypes and stuff like that. But realistically, having a few, my houses are the nicest ones on the street. I have other rentals, and trust me, they're not Section 8 where I have the trouble.
But do you give the neighbors, in case there is a problem, your phone number?
Yes, I do.
Well, good,
The
I'm glad you
problem-
do.
The problem that I see
I'm
is the
really glad
landlords
for it.
itself. When the inspector comes to the house and can't come in to inspect the house, what that inspector does is sends me a letter and tells me I have 30 days to get that inspection or they stop paying me. So realistically, the inspectors want the homeowner or a representative to be there for that inspection. If the person keeps knocking on the door, the inspector keeps knocking on the door and doesn't show up, you know, to get in there, most likely it's a landlord problem.
Oh, yeah, then we got a landlord problem in my
Right.
neighborhood.
And that's the problem, but realistically, I hear people think they're Section 8, I think there was only 1,900 in the general area. I think, I
You're
don't
talking-
remember,
Where are you talking about?
probably the Dundalk, Essex, Rosedale.
I think
I
we
mean,
want
there's
the
6,000,
numbers.
she's giving me a number of
In
6,000.
your handout, you have the list.
Right.
Yes, you have a list,
By zip code.
right, and honestly,
We have
It's-
773
okay,
between the two zip codes,
how many
22 and
streets do we
24.
have in this area? Thousands. Most people think just because a house is a
There's
crummy
17
looking
in
house,
Sparrow.
well, I have 2 of them, 700, and I put money on it. My houses are in better shape than anything on that street, and that's from homeowners, renters, and everything else. I would never share that with you because that's confidential
Right.
between that person there. So when I hear people saying, oh, they're Section 8 there and there, I put money on it, they're not even Section 8, they're
Well,
just.
trust me, what I'm telling you is Section
Okay,
8. I'll
but-
verify.
Okay, but that's one person.
And one person, but there's a lot of other people that could sit there and share the same sentiments that I have, okay, because they've been through it. I've been through the family where there was the murder in the basement. You missed that part.
So,
You weren't
so
here.
I will tell you, of the
And
of
you
the
do know,
complaints that we do receive,
Yeah.
90% of them are
It's this.
not
Looks like this.
participants on our
well, this one
program.
is, I definitely know she is, and I know another one
If
too.
memory serves, as far as I remember, under Maryland law, if you're convicted in a court of law of public nuisance, it can carry up to a 30-year maximum sentence for
Ken,
public nuisance.
We still
Depending on
need
the judge.
stuff.
Okay.
I mean, if they throw the hammer, and
Right.
that's more than armed robbery and other stuff. So, I mean,
Right.
you know, so people don't realize.
So, and if they're convicted, what happens? They lose their restaurant. So we cannot, so just because they're oh, right, they'll be in jail, so they won't be using it. And trust, let me tell you, we've had instances where people have gone to jail and they've left the remaining family members in the house. We found out about it, you know, probably it takes us about a week to figure it all out. And then we've got to put the rest, we got to tell the landlord, they can stay, but we're not paying any more of the rent because the person who made them eligible is no longer eligible.
Right.
So we keep track of that. It's not just so, but we can't, because someone got arrested last night, they're not coming off the program tomorrow. We gotta wait till they get, because sometimes the charges are dropped. We can't act until it's an actual conviction.
after a year.
So again, if you have someone in your neighborhood that you believe is on our program and is violating, and I'm gonna tell you before you get upset, you send me the information, and all the response you're gonna get from me is thank you very much for the information.
Mhm.
I can't confirm or deny
Okay.
whether the person is on the program.
Oh, I know.
But I will share with you, if we find that they are, we will take appropriate action.
All right.
But I won't ever tell you whether they are or they aren't.
Oh, I
I
know
will
you
just
can't,
get,
by
thank
law.
you for the information.
I don't know, I don't think you might have gotten this press release, but this was actually sent out by BNI, Maryland Fair Housing Organization, and it just came out of HUD. It says denying housing over criminal records may be discrimination, feds say.
All right.
So that's the
And
next
that's on
thing.
the public housing side?
Yeah, it's right here, you know,
So-
their house is
so,
involved with
Okay, so
the,
let me clarify. There's public housing and there's housing choice vouchers. Baltimore County is not in the business of public housing. We
Well-
own no property. So we will never have to deal with that until they change the law, the
Okay, the new,
information on the housing choice voucher side.
So that's
Okay.
more for Baltimore City where they have.
And the
public
other
housing.
jurisdictions. that
it
have-
doesn't really say where, it says in the new guidance released Monday, because you wouldn't have gotten this
I've
report.
seen it.
Okay, it tells landlords and home sellers that turning down tenants or buyers based on their criminal records may violate the Fair Housing Act, which you would have to follow, I'm
We
assuming.
always have to follow the.
Right, so what I'm
So
saying
we're-
basically
So
is-
again, so that's buyers and sellers and owners of property. Baltimore County does not own any property. So it's on the onus is on the landlord, the onus is on the seller. I
So
can't
it's kind of
police that.
releasing you.
So under human relations, will I be policing that? Yes. Under the voucher program, it's irrelevant to me because my participants aren't homeowners, because once they become a homeowner, they're off the program. They don't keep the vouchers. We do not have any vouchers where we pay mortgage payments. We don't have, there are some in Baltimore City where they have homeowners and they are in the homeowner program through Baltimore City where they pay mortgage payments. We don't have that. We have total rental assistance and that's it.
Well, it says
Baltimore
landlord,
County
so
will
that's a
never
rental.
own property as of the last communication I received from the administration.
I was at Oakrest yesterday,
Okay?
and a resident there was talking to me. When she found out I live in Dundalk, she says, oh, Dundalk is really integrated. Look at this. Dundalk has 700, Middle River has 400, almost 5. All the rest of the county have minimal numbers. Why are we selected for all of it?
Because the landlords and property owners in Dundalk accept vouchers, and people in those other areas do not. They're few and far between. So again, you're gonna end up with that concentration, and until source of income passes, the voucher holder has to go where someone's gonna take the voucher. There's a lot of landlords in Dundalk that will take their vouchers. There's a huge population of vouchers in Randallstown, because a lot of the landlords in Randallstown take the vouchers. So until it's opened up to the whole county, it's going to be that way. It's really the nature of the beast. But that's also why we're working on the mobility program to try to deconcentrate those pockets of highly concentrated vouchers and disperse them if they're willing to go to other areas. So we're trying to educate our participants on all aspects of Baltimore County, and that there's opportunities everywhere in Baltimore County, not just in Dundalk, not just in Middle River, not just in Randallstown.
Well, I see it in my lifetime that you.
Well, I will share with you that we are under an agreement to make sure that that happens in the next 10 years. So you gotta hang on for 10
Is
years.
it any
okay?
wonder I drink?
Montgomery County did beat the envelope. They spread their recipients.
Because Baltimore County has source of income throughout their county, so there are no restrictions in any community throughout Montgomery County. But in Baltimore County, they do not have to accept the voucher. In Montgomery County, they can't refuse it.
When you talked about the article that's in the newspaper with Kevin Caminance, wasn't that for 1,000?
It's for 1,000 hard units, new to the inventory, meaning that they
1,000
don't, 1,000 units, like an actual either house, apartment, condo, whatever, a place to live, for the lack of better words, new to the inventory. They are not existing in Baltimore County right now.
Each builder.
In the next 10 years. And then there's 2,000 vouchers that need to move from areas of concentration to areas of opportunity.
So what are areas of opportunity? That's.
Where are they going?
So there's a big map, and I can email it to your Carolyn, and she can share it with you. Off the top of my head, parts of Parkville, Cockeysville, Timonium, Towson.
No Caves Valley.
As soon as you start doing that, then the voucher amounts are gonna
That's
go
where
up.
Kevin.
So how are you gonna cover that? When you start moving all those
You
people,
are so smart, so that's
I mean, you're gonna go up like a
That is
third
correct.
easy.
So, it's a, you know, when one thing happens, there's an effect on the other side. So again, we probably will not be issuing new vouchers because any excess funds that we have are gonna be going
So
to paying those
program
rents.
shrinks.
I feel like Ben Carson back here. Can I ask a question? I've had my hand up for quite a while.
Yes, you can.
Would you mind sharing what the policy is for veterans?
The policy for veterans?
Yes, do they?
So veterans have several options. They can apply for the Housing Choice Voucher Program and any of the other specialty programs we have if they qualify. But veterans can also go directly to the VA. The VA has an individual that screens veterans for eligibility in the program, and they're really, they're doing a two-part screening. They're screening them for case management, and then also if they would be eligible. So then they said, Joe Blow qualifies for VASH voucher, which is the Veterans Vouchers. And we always apply for them. We have, last year we got an additional 150. We never issue them all. We always have some available. And then we determine them eligible on an income basis. The reason, one of the big reasons, and the Veterans Administration can back this up, is that a lot of the veterans don't want case management. And in order to get those vouchers, you have to do the case management, because the whole premise of it is that we get you help that you need so that you can live independently. You're no longer living under the bridge. You're not living in a tent in the woods. We're going to help you deal with the issues that are keeping you homeless. And a lot of them are like, I'm fine, don't bother me, I'm good. So that's why we never issue them all. And the VA, they literally go under the bridge, they go in the woods, they do all of that to try to find veterans so we can give them the voucher. And they refuse it because...
Okay, so you're saying you had to keep a certain percentage open just for the veterans, is that, did I hear you correctly?
No, we don't keep a certain percentage open. They
Okay.
just remain open because we don't have enough veterans willing to participate.
Okay, thank you.